We've got another email, this one in from Joyce. Joyce emailed us at questions@askjoedimatteo.com. She said, I would like to know about supplements and when they should be taken. Should they be taken on an empty stomach or with food? How long should I wait to take digestive enzymes after taking supplements with a meal? Which supplements should be taken alone? I recently read that zinc should not be taken in combination with other supplements from another doctor. Is that true? Thanks, Joyce. Well, thank you, Joyce. So there's a lot there, but let me try and break this down as best we can. She was asking what supplements should be taken on an empty stomach versus with food. Are there clear delineations in that?
In general, yes. So there's fat-soluble vitamins. There's water-soluble vitamins. Fat-soluble vitamins are A, D, E, and K.
Okay.
And because they're lipid-soluble or fat-soluble, it might be worthwhile to take those with food that contain a fatty or lipid component. So peanut butter or fish or yogurt, avocado, nuts, some fat yogurt from fat-containing yogurt.
Right.
You know.
All of my yogurt has fat. I don't know what we're talking about.
Anything like that can help. Now, as far as water soluble goes, essentially you just don't have to worry about those kind of things. It's
so A, D, E, and K. Mm-hmm. So everything else,
pretty much everything else is going to be
V, C. Mm-hmm. Okay,
B's and C's are the ones that I think we're referring to here.
So those are the water soluble ones, and those don't matter at all.
So I think that segues us into the next layer to this. Okay. So it's not that it doesn't matter. It's that, you would be fine taking those on an empty stomach, but sometimes you're balancing the optimal absorption with, can I tolerate this? Does this upset my stomach? Does it give me indigestion?
That's right, because C can cause some people a lot of irritation.
It can.
Okay.
It can. So that is the big picture with this conversation is, Joyce, we can go through every medication, every supplement, every combination, every disease state, every single thing that factors into optimal, we'll call it drug absorption and such. We had an entire course on it in pharmacy school, so it's not going to fit into a 10-minute discussion.
Sure.
But for the sake of answering her direct questions, it's a balancing act of, yes, you want to be optimal. You know, you're paying a lot of money for supplements. You're paying a lot of money to do things the right way.
Yeah, you want them to work.
You might as well do what you can to bump something up from an 8.5 out of 10 to a 9 if you want, or a 7.5 to a 9. Yeah. So I get that. Now, in general, again, fat soluble versus water soluble, that's the broadest category. A lot of these are found in combination in
like a multivitamin.
Multivitamins. So you're like, okay, what do I do? Well, you're just balancing can I tolerate the multivitamin? Is this something that upset your stomach in the past? Is it whatever? If it doesn't, take it on an empty stomach, I guess. Or, it doesn't necessarily matter.
So for the most part, we're talking about kind of playing around the edges. This is not a critical thing for most of these supplements. Okay.
I took a multivitamin on an empty stomach once. I will never do it again.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know. It's like, I don't know.
Is it just a personal response thing, the way you respond? Yeah. Wow.
I think so.
Okay.
And then who knows? I mean, there's certainly a psychological component.
That's what I'm thinking.
Thereafter.
No, when I take my supplements, it's 100%. Heather makes fun of me all the time. Like with meals, I'm always taking it. Like today, I packed it up in my little Ziploc bag to have, but I'll have it right before, lunch or this afternoon. I don't think any of it.
Whatever works for you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I give you permission.
Our zinc immune complex, I took that. It has zinc, elderberry, and D3.
Okay.
I took that and it made me so sick in the morning.
Wow.
I took it on an empty stomach.
Maybe don't do that one. Yeah. She mentioned, that was another part of her question, was she read somewhere that zinc shouldn't be taken in combination with other supplements.
Yeah, and that's a great question. That's where a lot of this can get a little hairy. In a vacuum, it's like Joyce is just taking a few supplements. She has no underlying health issues. Sure. She has no, she doesn't follow this sort of dietary pattern and all this kind of stuff. You're assuming all conditions are met.
Yeah.
But as soon as somebody's on a thyroid medication, as soon as somebody's on a PPI, as soon as somebody is on, they take other antacids or they're on an antibiotic, ciprofloxacin, then it really complicates things. There's grapefruit juice, there's interactions with certain medications. Sure. So it's very it's convenient to have this conversation in isolation, but the vast majority of people at this point might be taking levothyroxine in the morning. So how do you space that out in relation to your supplements? And then all of a sudden, when you're taking your supplements matter much less to, as compared to making sure that you take your thyroid medication,
right? Yeah,
for consistent absorption, which really matters, on a day in, day out sort of basis.
Yeah.
So with zinc, that would be one to take 1 to 2 hours after meals, I think is one of the stock recommendations. So yes, in theory, you're kind of separating it from other stuff, but most importantly, make sure that you at least have a feel for what your medication list is, and then make sure you also just continue to take what you're taking on a consistent basis as well.
Consistency is probably more important than the specific timing of a lot of these things. Talking about supplements, not medication. She had one other question there. She mentioned digestive enzymes, and that was, I had thought about digestive enzymes and probiotics because those specifically deal with the digestive tract. Do they have different recommendations as far as when to take them?
Yeah, those are relevant products to this discussion. So digestive enzymes, some say 30 minutes before you eat, 15 minutes before you eat, while, just right before you start eating, you can take the enzymes. So
like with first bite of food kind of thing.
Yeah. Cause essentially if you space it out too far, you're going to kind of miss the opportunity of how they're supposed to work.
They're
supposed to help you digest the food. So if you think there's too much of a gap on the front end or the back end, what did they have the opportunity to do what they were supposed to do? So if somebody tells you like 5 minutes versus 8 minutes or 15 minutes, those getting lost in some of those nuances is rough. Yeah, I'm sure we could find some study of somebody's digestive product that it was optimal to take it 15 minutes before, 10 minutes before.
Right.
But that you might have to play around a little bit too with something like that. And then probiotics, I don't really think matter that much either. Okay. The big thing with probiotics, especially if you have some sort of GI issues, being consistent on a daily basis, to be compliant and take the supplement is key. But most of what's out there, most of what we carry, they're encapsulated physically in such a way that by the time they get to where they're supposed to go, they're sort of resistant to the impact that foods and liquids and beverages and other things can kind of have. There's 20 strains of probiotic in our probiotic essential. Right. And I'm sure we could look up and find some sort of commentary on certain strains that can better withstand environments without food.
Right.
Certain pHs and certain acidities and different environments that they're most able to be viable, essentially. So,
but it's like a multivitamin in that it really, so long as you're tolerating it okay, it doesn't matter that much. It's designed to work in combination at the right time, whenever that is.
Sure.
So consistency is more important than timing on that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then some of the obvious stuff, stuff for sleep.
Yeah.
Taking it towards bedtime, melatonin, magnesium.
Yeah.
Magnesium, that's one you might want to have a little food in your stomach as well. Not really critical one way or the other.
One morning, I meant to take our mood essentials. We have mood essentials. I meant to take it before I came in to work, and I I accidentally took our essential sleep. I grabbed it real quick before I left. I wasn't thinking. I was like, Dragon, I saw your dad. I saw Senior. And I was like, man, I accidentally he made fun of me the rest of the day. That was terrible.
So take your sleep essentials at bedtime.
Yes, not in the morning.
And your mood essentials in the morning.
What a goof.
There was another one that came to mind. Iron is used a ton.
Yes.
And so there are other interactions with medications, of course. And so oftentimes it's recommended to separate it by at least 2 hours from other medications and other things. But iron is another one that can upset stomach, cause some GI issues. So you're still balancing the efficacy with the tolerability.
Right.
You know? And so,
because if you can't tolerate it and you stop taking it, then it's definitely not going to be effective.
Right. So that's something you want to take on an empty stomach. But if it bothers you, then you might have to take it with a little bit of food. That's
Right.
something that absorption can also be enhanced a little bit by taking it with vitamin C. Sometimes products have it together. Anemia Essentials has some vitamin C in there.
Yeah.
Some people take it with a little bit of orange juice. You know, it's just that's just a little thing, more or less. But,
All right.
But yeah.
So fair enough. That's a fairly comprehensive answer there. I hope that helped. Joyce, there's a lot of answers, but the big ones, A, D, E, and K, don't matter at all.
Those are fat soluble.
Those are the fat soluble ones.
Take those with food.
B and C are the ones that don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Matter
the
less. Yeah.
digestive essentials, and then something like the anemia essentials or iron or any of those others that might have zinc, that might have some impact on medication. It can kind of be a case-by-case basis, and you just want to double check. But read the label. It should tell you on there if there's a specific recommendation.
Yeah, and even calcium. I mean, there's so many. Even if you have osteoporosis or you're taking extra calcium, there are certain things where if you're on other medications, you'll want to separate it.
So just check with a pharmacist.
Definitely.
Got it. Very good. Very good.